clubs on the Isle of Man have got to buy into it as well. And I know we're coming away from the English football a little bit, but it's what we want to see. And any sport on the Isle of Man who want to sort of improve have got to just make sure that everything they can do, they're doing. And then hopefully it'll all come together. But the facilities are here for football. There's 26 member clubs, so in theory we could have 26 women's teams. We've only got 6, and it's probably the lowest number we've had for a long, long time. So hopefully the World Cup will kick it on, and we'll get some more teams in the league.
The lowest amount of teams in that amount of time. Is that surprising when it seems so much like we're talking more about women's sports?
It is really, and I don't know what it is. And just speaking to you off air, when I saw the Isle of Man team sheet, the first game in Innismore against Jersey, I thought, wow, there's some players in there. And when you look over the years, we've had Douglas Royal, Peel have come to the fore over the last 2 or 3 years. Corinthians have been really dominant, but when you look at the record books, Union Mills, Maloo were the top teams, and they don't have teams now. So it's something we've got to sort of work on. We've got a full-time women's football development officer, and Simon works ever so hard. There's 1 or 2 clubs sort of dipping their toe in the water to say we might be in this year, and hopefully they can pull that one off, because now's the time to try and really get it going. And with the youth games, we had a lot of young girls playing football there. It's going to be a while before they come through into senior football, but hopefully the players that are playing there now, under 14s, under 16s, not that there's that many there, will come through and play senior women's football.
I mean, also touching on what we just touched on off air as well, is that the fact that perhaps what can we do in terms of motivation? I mean, we hear, as I say, more and more internationally women's sports, but how do we get more women playing on here? Is it down to things like funding? Does it come down to something like that?
Funding doesn't come into it at all. I think it's the girls need to want to play football. When you look at netball at the moment, and I'm looking at it and I think, what a massive rise that has done. But I look at my own daughter, she played netball, she played hockey, she played football, but suddenly at 16, they have to make a choice, because they've got to concentrate either on their schoolwork or go to work, and they'll drop a sport or two, and that's what happens. And I'm not saying it happens all the time, but football seems to be a big casualty on it, because, hockey, when you look at the women's hockey setup, it's superb. And when you look at sort of netball now, it is doable. And maybe we've got to look at how netball have promoted themselves, and see if football can learn a little bit from that.
Well, there you go. It's about promotion then, is it? Is it on the onus on perhaps the older people, the people that are setting up the clubs, and to tell people to shout a bit louder?
Definitely. It's on the clubs as well. They've got to sort of have the will to start a women's team. And, I'm part of Corinthians, and we've had a strong women's team. I know it's easy to keep things going when you're winning, but you've just got to sort of give it a go. And it's great to watch, and the connection in Innismore with the men's team and the women's team support and everything else was great to see. And I think it's doable. It'll take a bit of hard work, but the players obviously have got to want to play.
You say it's doable and it could happen. Are you optimistic it will?
I don't know. We've sort of been working on bringing extra women's teams in this year. There are 1 or 2 that have shown interest, but they're not over the line yet. So I don't think that may happen this year, which is a shame really, because Simon Elson's tried so hard to get those teams going. But hopefully, what's happened in the Women's World Cup might just sort of entice a few more into the game, and then we can get going, because, as I say, it can be sort of dealt with very, very quickly. We can get the teams in the league, and there's good competitive sides, if elite, and for teams who are building, because, when you look at Laxey only a couple of years ago, a lot of good young girls were coming through, and over the last 2 years, one of Laxey's players, Alex Wotton, has won the double Player of the Year, under 21 and senior, 2 years on the bounce. That's never been done. So the players are out there.
Well, we'll wait and see then.
We will.